Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Compliance Corner with John Hanson. It is time for another wonderful episode with my good friend John, who's here with me now. How you doing today, John?
I'm doing great. How are you, Cole?
Fantastic, my friend. Okay, so here's one that we're going to talk about that is so often misunderstood, and that is the computation of time on the Form 21, paragraph L. Always a crazy one. So I'm going to go ahead and show us that. So here's our computation of time. So John, walk us through our challenges with computation of time.
Okay. Well, first of all, establishing when it begins always becomes an issue, and it becomes an issue for two reasons. And one is that one of the questions I get is, we didn't reach mutuality until after 9 o'clock p.m. We didn't reach mutuality until 10 o'clock. So what day did we have mutuality? And I have to explain that the beginning time has nothing to do with this paragraph at all. So the beginning time is up until midnight. So if it was done last night at 11:55 p.m. right before midnight, day one is the next day, which is today, right? So last night was the day of mutuality, even if it was 11:55 p.m.
Right.
That was mutuality, and today becomes day one in computing time and counting time, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the first step in understanding this computation of time, is understanding that the beginning has nothing to do with 9 o'clock p.m. It has everything to do with midnight, the change of day from one day
Right.
to the next. Okay, and then the first day in counting and computing time is always day one is the next day following that mutuality.
Right. So if they get mutual 11:59, 1 minute later starts day one.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. So shall we go into then, okay, computation time at the end of it? We'll say this is where your 9 p.m. comes in, right, John?
Yes, that's where it comes in. So paragraphs Q, R, and S address issues of some issues of that, but also this paragraph L talks about that also. And so understanding when it ends, it's going to end at 9 o'clock p.m. Okay, so that's where that 9 o'clock p.m. comes in, is at the end. And then you're going to, for any period of time that you're computing of 5 days or less, then you are not going to count weekends and holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So in effect, a 5-day period for computation of time could easily turn into 7 or 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. But a computation of time of 6 days is exactly 6 days, and will count weekends and holidays.
Right.
So oftentimes putting in, a computation of time of 5 days actually turns out to be usually more days.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that. So 5 days or less, we do not count weekends or holidays, but any period of time more than 5 days, 6 and beyond, is going to count those holidays and not leap over anything.
Great.
But either way, whether it's 5 days or less or more than 5 days, it is going, if it ends on a Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday, it's going to roll over to the next working day.
Right. So if we do an example of that, so let's say that for day one is Thursday, okay, and there's 5 days in the computation of time. So we hit mutual on Wednesday. So Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's where it could be 7 days, even if it says 5.
Right.
If it's 6 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Correct.
That's how 6 days can be shorter than 5 days.
Exactly.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and so there are some situations in which you want to be aware of that, because sometimes in counter offers to our offers, the listing agent is thinking, well, we're really going to cut that time down, for inspection, so we're going to cut it down to 5 days, and so that's actually going to turn out to be probably 7. and maybe even 8 if there's a holiday in there. Just be aware of that. And then if I may jump to the next thing with that thought, always remember that time is of the essence of this agreement. Okay, now having that sentence in our form, didn't matter where it was at, but it happened to be here. So important to know that, because that means there is no grace period. Whenever that phrase is in a contract, it means that there is no grace period. There is no force majeure that is going to, nothing with COVID that anyone can say that is going to cause it to automatically extend an extra day. Even if you use the 22 FM, the 22 FM could override this if, in fact, there was some calamity that happened that literally made it impossible for anyone to have prepared for this, right? So an earthquake or something like that. But when we're talking about the COVID that's been around now for 6 months or more, that is no longer, that 22 FM is no longer even applicable.
Sure.
Because everyone has had plenty of time to prepare for it. If you need to put in longer closing dates, you've had time to prepare for that. So there's nothing that would really fall within that form, 22 FM. So, it just confuses people, makes them think there's some sort of automatic extension when there really isn't.
Right.
And that's the only reason why we don't want to use it, to not confuse people.
Sure.
To have it in there really is, it doesn't matter one way or the other. I mean, there could be an earthquake or something, right? But
sure.
But so anyway, so time is of the essence. Pay attention to those deadlines in your computation of time. Know when it's going to be. Best practice is right from the beginning, establish with the other agent by email, what is our date of mutuality? You don't have to ask them, just state it. Say, we reached mutual on this day. So we have 5 days for this. So that will be Tuesday, or whatever day it is, by 9:00 p.m. You will hear from me. And
Right.
so it's just so important to have that communication with the other agent, not wait until it's 9:01 on Tuesday and then have an argument over it, because then it's too late to argue. You got to establish that from the beginning.
Love that. So can I share a story, John? And I want to go back to just a little bit to that 9 p.m.
Okay.
Right. And this was on a possession date. So I represented the seller. When we hit mutual acceptance, I go through all of those, the computation of time and everything, including possession date. Now, possession date is at 9 p.m. unless otherwise specified, right? So we went through that. My client, she was doing her best to get out of the house. Well, at 5 p.m., the buyers show up because their agent said, we've got recording numbers. The house is now yours. They show up at 5 o'clock and she's not out of the house yet. And they are a little bit wound up, to the point they try calling their agent, can't get a hold of their agent. So they called the police. Oh my goodness. So my client calls me, and I was able to get a hold of the agent. I bring the handy dandy contract, opening it up to this paragraph and showing it's 9 p.m. We had to have everybody calm down. By the way, she was out by 8:55, but the contract really did help. And it was such an incredible mess. So that's why even on possession date and time, 9 o'clock, even it makes sense. So this is the most misunderstood paragraph. So many agents think that even on the possession, they've got, as soon as they get recording numbers, they get to hand keys over, and that's not necessarily the case. Am I correct on that, John?
That's right. So 9:00 p.m. would be the possession change time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for clearing all of this up. This is always such a confusing paragraph for people, but we're so glad that you have us. We have you here helping us out with it, John, as always. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope everybody else out there has an amazing day too. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.